You're listening to What She Said, a podcast for bloggers and creatives hosted by me, Lucy Sharif, a freelance journalist living in London. Each week I interview different women in blogging and the online world, getting their best blogging tips and advice, and a little bit of gossip too. Thanks for listening. Hello and welcome to another episode of What She Said. In this episode, oh my god, it was so much fun. I was chatting to Sam Sparrow. She's my real life friend, you guys, so expect some proper laughs. It was awesome. Sam came round to my flat. We ate Portuguese custard tarts, whose name I can never remember, and drank tea and played with my baby. It was awesome. So anybody who doesn't know who Sam is, she is an absolute unicorn. I adore her. Without her, this podcast wouldn't exist. That's a fact. She's a massive, massive support to me. Yeah, I love her. She's amazing. Anyway, back to Sam. She's really interesting because she's been blogging for years and years and years under various different guises, and but at the same time, she's kind of a new blogger because she switched from her old blog, which was kind of a magazine which she ran with her best mate Leah Rice, to her travel blog as the Sparrow Flies, which I think is less than a year old. We chat about Pinterest and why this is such a traffic booster for your blog. It has been for her and for me and for lots of people, and Sam is a bit of a powerhouse with it. Why it's important not to get too bogged down in the social media platforms you don't like, and how to network when you don't like people. If you've been struggling with Pinterest, or if you're a little bit scared to break into a new niche with your blog, this one is for you. Enjoy. Hi Sam, how are you?
I'm alright, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How has your day been?
My day's been amazing because I've basically been in your flat for the whole day and you've been feeding me custard tarts, so it's the best fun ever.
Brilliant.
I get to see the flat behind the Instagrams.
Oh my goodness.
Amazing. Yeah.
Does it live up to expectations?
It really does. I like your bunker bedroom. I'm telling everyone your bedroom secrets now on your podcast. I'm so inappropriate.
No, it's fine.
It's amazing. It's like being on a boat. Like you go down into the cabin.
It's weird,
cozy.
Isn't it?
No, it's cozy. I like it.
So, for anyone that doesn't know who you are, please could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your blogging journey.
How do you explain
yourself?
How do you explain? So my name is Sam Sparrow. And
real name, by the way. Actual real name.
Yeah, it is actually my name. It's not a pseudonym or a stage name. I married into this name, for which I'm forever grateful to Mr. Sparrow for giving me an excellent online name. But yeah, so I've been blogging in some form or another since 1999.
Stop it.
Yeah, so before blogging was a thing, when they called blogging weblogs. In 1999, I was doing blogging, and like not as we would know blogging now, but messing around on the internet. So my stepdad is a computer programmer, so we got a computer, like a PC, really early. We got dial-up internet when I was 15,
Those days.
Which was 19 years ago.
Oh my god.
Oh, and we had things like, so where we've got like WhatsApp now or Facebook Messenger, we had chat programs called ICQ. So for any of the old school internet people out there, and then we moved on to MSN Messenger.
Sure.
And there was no social media, and websites were built in Dreamweaver and uploaded. Or you could do it old school, like I did, which was HTML code in Notepad. And then, like, somehow, I can't even remember how we did it. Like, you convert it and upload it. So I had, like, a free site. You know, you could buy them off, like, GeoCities. And all of that. So I had one of those for I built, like, really weird websites. I got my own domain name for a birthday present. And when I went to university, I had my own website, which was samstars.co.uk. And I used that just to, like, randomly, like, write about stuff at uni.
Like journaling.
Yeah, and then I realised that there was a lot of stuff going on at uni that I didn't want to write publicly because that was the place that my parents went to.
Yeah.
So I got a live journal, a private live journal, which all the emo kids did.
Yeah.
Pre-MySpace.
Oh my God.
Live journal. Live journal was the thing, and you'd have like a few people on live journal. So I did all of that, and then I graduated and completely dropped out of the online world because I had a job that didn't really require online. When I first started work, there was no social media. Social media did not exist when I first started work. And I was doing a very like non-online job. I worked for a charity. And it's only so I joined Facebook in 2007, but never really saw that as a opportunity. It was just a way to post piss pictures with my mates and keep in contact with people that I'd graduated with like 3 years ago. And I think it's only when Twitter came around that I started to see the potential. And I was quite a late joiner to Twitter. So I got married in 2009, and then I realised I was in a really boring job at that point, and the only thing that had been keeping me occupied was planning my wedding. And then Twitter came along, and I was like, oh my God, there's a whole group of people in the world that I can just tweet out to in the ether. And I used to do things like live tweet The Apprentice.
I remember you telling me about that.
And like I got so many followers through doing that, just because I'd rant or be quite witty online about The Apprentice.
Yeah, you should follow Sam Sparrow because she live tweeted the general election also, which made my life.
I did have a disco nap at like 3 a.m. Woke up to watch Boris win.
When I woke up.
You woke up, so we tagged in and tagged out. Yeah, so I had a disco nap. Every now and then the mood takes me to be a little bit acerbic on Twitter. But yeah, and it was through Twitter that I started to see people were sort of blogging again. And so I was writing blogs. Like I did dabble in a knitting blog on Blogger called Pearl About Town, but Pearl spelled P-U-R-L.
Nice.
For Pearl, yeah. But I didn't really knit very much, so that didn't really go anywhere. So, you know. So then I started this blog called All Things... Well, it started off as cakeandlife.wordpress.com. And then when I bought my own domain... Because I was basically just taking pictures of cake.
Yeah, which is life.
Yeah, and writing about my life. And so then I changed it to All Things Good and Proper. And like bought a domain. And I was tweeting still about cake and life, but also I worked as a volunteer manager for years. So I was tweeting about the state of volunteering. So it was kind of a bit of a professional blog. And through that, my career started to really take off. Like people would know me through like the charity world circuit. I used to get picked up in like Third Sector magazine, which was like a sector magazine for volunteering. Get phoned up to ask my opinion because I was blogging about it.
An expert.
Yeah, and like I was blogging about things like when Bob Crow said that made this really awful comment about volunteers when he was like going on strike again with the RMT, and I wrote like a big like ranty piece about how volunteers can change the world and blah blah blah. All like boring stuff, but that's what I was writing about. Yeah. But I then sort of changed jobs, or I got a little bit disillusioned with that part of my work, and the kind of passion for blogging started to wane again, and I found it came in fits and starts with, you know, if there was something that I cared about, I would write about it. And it was at that point that I met Leah, who I've spent the last 6 years co-editing and co-hosting podcasts with. And we set up a podcast and a website, first of all, called the High Tea Cast, and then merged into what was on Sorry magazine. And that's when I kind of found my passion again, because I had a new pal to do it. We actually met through being on a podcast together. Yeah, so we were like definition of like millennial goals of like meeting your best mate on a podcast. Like, oh, cringe, make me die. But, you know, like absolutely doing all that. So, and I didn't really know anything about what we would now consider to be professional blogging or podcasting. So it was all self-taught. We were bumbling away. We went from us just blogging about random stuff to setting it up as a magazine and having lots of people that we'd met online, like writing pieces for us. So it would be like feminism or lifestyle. We did beauty for a while. We had a sex column, which meant we kept getting offered dildos in the post. Wow. Good fun, you know, test this dildo. We went to an orgasm workshop.
I remember you saying
for the podcast. You know, like we did.
And you were super successful as well. Like you're talking it down like it was just a hobby kind of website.
No,
you were super
it was
successful, especially as podcasters. Yeah, you were two of the only big female podcasters in the UK.
Yeah, so 6 years ago, no one had a podcast. Like crazy American dudes had a podcast, or the BBC had a podcast. And so we were like
just Desert Island Discs and Nerdist.
Yeah, basically that was all that was on. That was all that was on the iTunes. So we were one of the first. I don't want to say we were the first, but we were definitely amongst the first kind of young...
In the first wave.
Yeah, UK females doing podcasts. And we experimented with formats. We won a couple... Well, we got shortlisted and we're in the top 10 at the European Podcast Awards, which are now defunct, sadly, for a couple of years. And essentially, it was just me and my best mate chatting. Like, we didn't really overthink it, but people really liked it. And it really kind of made me realise the power of, like, audio. Connecting with audiences, because I've never been interested in vlogging because it's too much effort, whereas actually podcasting is far less effort for, I think, bigger payoff. So I've really enjoyed it, and we were really successful for a really long time. I mean, successful in the sense that neither of us ever had any grand plans to take it full time,
and it was your part-time.
It was our part-time gig. Like, I work full time, but in terms of success goes, like, we were pretty successful, and we earned a bit of money on the side, and we made great friendships, and we considered that the content we put out was great. But Unsorry magazine has kind of gone on indefinite hiatus now. Earlier this year, and I knew that Unsorry was starting to kind of run out of steam, and both of us were kind of looking for new challenges. So at the beginning of this year, I decided to start a new blog, which is kind of what I'm doing at the moment, which is another amazing pun, because apparently that's all I can do when coming up with website names. So it's called As the Sparrow Flies, and it's about travel. And that's really how we sort of kind of met and connected, because I've been reading your travel blog for a long time, and then just aggressively friended you via Instagram stories. So I've been doing that travel blogging for about 6 months, so I'm kind of relearning everything all over again, kind of like about blogging.
A new travel blogger, which is also kind of bonkers. It's an oxymoron, really, because you're a new travel blogger, but you've been blogging since before blogger.
I'm like an old... So it is really, really weird, because I've never been... So, like, I've been doing this forever, and sometimes I think back and go, oh my God, if I'd have taken this seriously when I was at university, like, and really tried to learn and really, like, grown... Like, I would, like, be a millionaire and have a townhouse in Hove by now. Like, I would be the millennial Zoella before Zoella was Zoella.
You would be Emma Gannon.
Yeah, I might be.
No.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
No, I'd be a more sweary Emma Gannon.
Yeah.
For sure. But, like, I think, like, I have been doing stuff on the internet, and mainly I've been doing it because I really geeked out about it. Like, I learned how to code a bit, and like, I like putting sites together, so that's where my obsession started. And I've always, even though my job up until recently has had nothing to do with the internet at all, and it's been quite a hands-on kind of job that isn't in the online space, I've always loved the internet. I'm like a total product of, like, millennial mayhem. Like, I've grown up with it, and it's always been really important to me as a way of connecting. So even if I didn't have a blog, I would still read blogs. I would still tweet incessantly about stuff that pisses me off. I'd put drunk pictures on Facebook. I probably wouldn't do Instagram, actually, if I didn't have a blog, because Instagram is annoying.
It's like you're not... We'll definitely have to talk about that again.
Yeah, but so that's I've been around for ages, but I feel very new.
Yeah,
I feel like the new kid on the block again.
What's that like as a new travel blogger? Because actually, you know what, we made friends actually through Instagram.
Yeah,
but we also now have quite a lot of mutual travel blogger friends.
We do
as well. So, how did you make those friends?
I just stalked all of your friends and assimilated them as my own. I just looked at Lucy in a really creepy way. Just imagine a creepy, intense stare.
If only we were filming this.
Yeah, it would be really awkward.
Send help.
Yeah, I've taken a prisoner in her own home. No, I think so. It's been good and weird in like equal measure. So I think one of the things that I found with travel blogging is that the community, or certainly the community that I've stumbled into, the part of the community I've stumbled into, has been amazing and lovely and welcoming, offering support and advice and holidays. So, like, I went on holiday in May with Beverly from Pack Your Passport and Sophie from SophieCliff.com, and I'd never met...
Also friends of the podcast.
And I had never met them in real life before. We did this weird Love Actually, like, style meeting at Amsterdam Airport, and that could have been a total disaster, but turned out to be absolutely phenomenal.
Start of a beautiful friendship.
And so, like, in many ways, the travel blogging community has massively embraced me and hasn't been, I think in other niches, it can be a bit like, oh, get off my lawn.
Yeah.
But everyone's like, there's room for, there's room for everyone.
Yeah.
In other ways, it's been like climbing such a massive mountain, because actually I think travel blogging, it's really easy to start a travel blog, because if you go on holiday and take pictures of it and want to write about it and put it online, then essentially you're writing a travel blog, right? But they're like, I think the people that are doing phenomenally well in the travel blogging world and that have been doing this for years, in many ways, even if you don't want to live that life, it feels quite hard to kind of carve out your spot. Yeah. Because like, well, why would someone read my guide to eating brunch in Amsterdam when they could read 25 other, you know, and I'm not the kind of person that would Google places in the world, find there's not much content and go to that place. Yeah. Because I'm not a professional travel blogger. I go to places that I really want to see, or there's a good holiday pirates deal. Yeah. And then I write about my experiences. So I think sometimes that can be quite difficult.
A bit more daunting, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Like the kind of writing I was doing before, I was writing a lot about feminism. I was writing about lifestyle. I was, you know, I was writing about my life and my experiences. And I guess I'm still doing that with the travel blog now, but with that added thing where people are going to find my content through searching for a destination. Yeah. And sometimes it's made me really overthink.
Oh, really? When it comes to maybe travel planning?
Yeah, when it comes to travel planning or like writing. So I've got a standard format that I write for my city guides because that's how I would have liked to, when I was Googling, how I would have liked to have seen the content, because it's how my brain works. Yeah. And I guess I have to rely on the fact that there are other weird people in the world whose brain works like me and wants that kind of stuff. And I think, you know, that can be quite daunting, because who wants to read about bloody, I don't know, Paris again? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there are so many...
Coming up with fresh angles to travel content can sometimes be quite difficult, but you do it really well.
Thank you, that's lovely.
Well, I think the proof is in the pudding. For a blog that's only been around for 6 or 7 months, you had an online presence already, but essentially you were starting from scratch. Yeah. But actually you're doing really well already. So I think that just proves to any other bloggers out there that if you think no one's going to read just because you don't feel like you've got a fresh angle, you have. Yeah. Just write it.
Yeah, because and I think as well, you know, I've been really honest. So like I did write a Paris guide, a first timer's guide to Paris, but then I also wrote a companion post which was, I thought Paris was shit. Yeah. Quite an unpopular opinion, as it turns out. Beverly also wrote a similar post after me. So it turns out that that's why me and Beverly are kindred spirits. Yeah. But, you know, like, I've been quite honest about my opinions on places, or how I see things like a tourist. Yeah. Because that's what I am. Yeah. So I don't have any problem with that. So, yeah, so I think, you know, coming into a new kind of niche has felt like, you know, there's some respect there for the craft, for the people that have gone before me. And it's like, I'm just bumbling. Sometimes it feels like I'm just bumbling in with my pictures of salmon and egg on toast from Amsterdam going, oh, here, look at my blog. And then also there's that weight of expectation. Yeah. So I think, like, there was an expectation that the blog would be good anyway, because I'd been blogging for years. Yeah. And that's not always the case. Luckily, people have quite liked it, so...
Yeah, well, they have. They have, definitely. Like I say, the proof's in the pudding. So I know the answer to this, and it's something that I talk about quite a lot, that everybody should be doing, and I really hate saying should, you should do this, but Pinterest. Talk to me about Pinterest.
So I kind of love Pinterest now, but I did not get Pinterest. So did not do anything on Pinterest when we were running on Sorry Magazine. I used Pinterest to pin shit pictures of nail varnish and lilac unicorn hair. Yeah. That was my Pinterest. Yeah. And I did have quite a few Pinterest followers because I joined Pinterest really early and posted loads of motivational quotes. And like that shit just honestly gets...
People love it, don't they?
People love that shit. But then, like, Pinterest changed, like every kind of platform changes, and it became like vertical pins with text overlay, only beautiful pins, all of this kind of, you know, shenanigans. And I was just like, I don't understand Pinterest. And then I was like, I know that travel blogs do well on Pinterest. Like, if I want to kickstart this and do it properly, I need to get my head around it. So I spent like my Christmas break figuring out Pinterest. And basically the first line that I read when I was properly looking into it was Pinterest's search engine. And I was like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a social platform.
It's Google.
It's Google, but with pictures.
Google.
And also, it's Google, but with pictures.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's Google with pictures. So essentially, I guess, like my personal process is there's like a few things that I'll do. So for every post, I will make 2 to 3 pins. So I'll make 3 pins if it's a city guide. With different pictures. Don't always use my own pictures, so I use free stock imagery because it's just better for Pinterest.
Yeah, people love that on Pinterest.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter so much. So use stock imagery. I've got a format for all of my pins, and I do it in Canva, so it's really, really easy. I'll change the title, like text overlay for each one. I'll put one on my blog, and the other 2 I will hide as hidden kind of images. But if you were to have,
if you press pin,
they come up.
I need to ask you how to do that.
Yeah, so
there's like a little bit of code.
Yeah, we can Google it, and then we can put the link in the show notes, and then you can do it. It's like a super easy piece of code.
Yeah.
So I'll do that, and then I'll put the pin out on my own boards. So the next thing is about designing your Pinterest page. And so basically it's about having the boards that you would have in terms of what you blog about. So for me, it's travel. So I've got travel tips, European travel, USA, like lots of different boards. And I've got some separate boards for places that I know I travel to a lot, like Italy and things like that. And then you join group boards. Yeah. And so I've joined so many group boards. Some of them are naff, so I need to de-join them, and I need to just look at which ones are good and which ones aren't.
Because Pinterest has some really good business analytics. I've written a post, shameless plug. I've written a post about Pinterest, which is it's really basic. So if you're new to Pinterest, then I will link it in the show notes. I would say go to that.
Yeah, definitely go to that. And it's just about using it like a search engine. Yeah. So your board descriptions need to have keywords in them, and they don't have to be full sentences. They can be keywords with commas so that your boards come up in searches. It's the same for your pin descriptions, like all of that kind of stuff. Treat it like you would SEOing a post. So pinning to group boards is really important. And then the other thing that I did, which I don't do as much anymore, but it has worked really well when I was starting out, is on Facebook there are 3 incredible Pinterest for bloggers groups where they do pin threads every day, and you put your pin and then you repin all of the other pins, and those 100 people will repin your pin. So it gets into your audience.
Sharing.
So it's really easy sharing. And the good thing, I mean, some of the content that people put on those, I'm just like, there are rules, so they have to be vertical. So on all of that. But some I'm just like, oh, this breaks my heart to pin. But generally speaking, because the other thing that you need to do on Pinterest is pin a lot. Yeah. Your own content and others. So it's a really easy way of finding everyone else's content. So if I've got a new pin to put out, I'll just stick it in a couple of those groups. And away you go, and then you're already getting that kind of virality on that pin. And like 3/4 of my traffic comes from Pinterest at the moment. Like I wrote, honest to God, the most basic, shitty travel hacks that you might not have thought of post. One of which was take an extension lead in your bag. I mean, this is not like inspirational fucking content, right? It was not. It was fine, right? But it was not like gospel. Yeah. And I didn't even think the pin was that good. And it's so weird what goes well on Pinterest. And that just went insane. And for like 2 months.
I remember seeing that on Pinterest.
And for 2 months that went in, it was a picture of a hotel room, I think. It was like such a shit pin. It's so annoying because I've got better pins. But yeah, so like I definitely think that travel does so well on Pinterest. So if you're writing about travel, it's definitely worth trying it out. And experimenting in Canva's free. Yeah, it's really easy to experiment. Go and look at some pins that you like the look of.
Look at Sam Sparrow's Pinterest and just copy what she does. I would suggest.
Yeah, I mean, actually, like I'm not a very visual person, so I found designing pins not that great. So I'm like trying a new design of pins that I'm going to start putting out soon. because I know that my pins are not as beautiful as other people's.
I have a tip for that. Mine also aren't, and I'm not very good at any kind of graphic design, but I basically stole all of mine from Melissa Griffin. Well,
I was just about to say, Melissa...
I didn't steal them from her. She offers all this stuff up on her website.
Yeah, so the one place I was going to say, so Melissa Griffin does a Pinterest course.
Yes, she does, doesn't she?
It's not cheap. So unless you are making dollar from your website, like I wouldn't necessarily say you want to pay all this money, but she does offer a lot of free resources on her website. She also, when she's trying to sell her course, does a webinar. So you should look out, if you sign up for her emails or whatever, she does like a 1.5 hour webinar about Pinterest, where a lot of what I've just described will be
she
chatted
gives
about.
away a lot for free.
She gives away a lot for free, particularly because she's moving her business to be slightly more niche, I think. So she's giving away a lot of Pinterest stuff for free.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, so Pinterest is like, for me, I think if it works in your area that you're blogging in, Pinterest is great because it's easy. It's like it's like easy win.
Yeah, it's so the traffic that you can get from Pinterest is incredible. I think people don't really realise. As soon as you start seeing those referrals rolling in, you're like, shit.
And it really helps as well, particularly with a new blog, because for any new post or any brand new blog, it takes a while to get that juice from Google.
Yeah.
Like it's just picking up for me now, 6 months in, but not massively, because mainly I don't really spend that much time SEOing my posts, which I should. So don't listen to me on that. But Pinterest has actually really helped get over that hump, because it's so instant on that platform. And the way the Pinterest algorithm works is that if you can get a few good repins of your pin, like early on, then it comes up higher in the smart feed.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, which is why those groups can be really helpful when you've got a new pin to push out.
Ooh, I'm going to be picking your brains about these.
Yeah, so we can put those new... and you just request to join on
Facebook.
Facebook.
All in the show notes, so you can all have it too. It's not just for me.
Yeah.
And what else have you found has been a bit of a growth game changer? Or has there been any? Actually, there's two parts to this question. What else have you found, particularly regarding your travel blog, has been a growth game changer? Also, has there been any stumbling blocks? Like, has there been a moment where you felt like, shit, I can't do this, actually. I'm not good enough.
Yeah. So I think in terms of, I guess, growth game changer, for me, it's been about networking. Definitely. So, like, number one, promote your posts. I promote them on my personal Facebook page. Yeah. And a lot of bloggers I know don't do that. And, like, I get why. And there are some things that I've promoted on my personal page. So I just recently wrote a post about body shape and travel and, you know, should it define how you travel.
Really good post. Oh, that as well.
Yeah, and, you know, and, like, it's got a great reception. But I've all of a sudden had, like, mad Facebook messages from mad family members that are just a bit like, but you're not fat, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, number one, you've not really read the post, and number two, oh god, I totally forgot I'm friends with you guys on Facebook. But you know, Facebook is also a big referrer for me, and a lot of people, I just say, like, it's part of your life, don't be embarrassed, put it out there.
Agreed.
So, like, growth game changers is promote everywhere and don't promote a post once.
Yeah, oh my God.
So Co-Schedule have got some really good resources about when to post on each and how often to post.
Co-Schedule is a social media scheduling tool that you can use for everything.
Yeah, you can use it for everything. It's not... Yeah, no, you can use it for Pinterest. You can use it for everything. Okay. You can even use it for Instagram, but it doesn't post immediately to Instagram. It just reminds you. Yeah. But they've got... Actually, their website, if you just go to coschedule.com and click on their blog, so much good tips and advice there, but they've got a really good post about the best times to, like, how many times to post and when. So, like, 45 days after you should schedule a post. It's really interesting. So that's been really helpful. The blog, the download,
the Co-Schedule
software
tool.
No,
okay,
it's not free, and it's not cheap. There are other, like, Buffer. You could use Buffer.
Yeah, you can use Buffer free, and then they have, like, a premium $10
Yeah, the $10 plan, like, you know, if you were committed and social, like getting social posting right is what you want to do, and you could just remind yourself. You could set all of this up with a bit of extra work on buffer just by using the amount, but people just don't post out their stuff enough.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't really give a shit if I'm annoying people. It's my life.
I don't either.
And, you know, people see I like barely see anyone's stuff on Twitter, so
Well,
seven tweets for me isn't going to piss people off.
I think particularly on Twitter as well, you have to tweet a lot.
Yeah,
don't be embarrassed about it, because
just put it out there. I only put it on my personal Facebook page once, so you can be Facebook friends with me if you want and not be annoyed.
Oh my God, I do it more than that.
Yeah.
I do it...
But you don't have a Facebook page for your blog, do you?
I do.
Or do you?
So that I can have the business Instagram account, which annoys me massively, but I don't promote it.
Yeah, I didn't realise. I didn't think you had it.
Yeah. Well, I basically don't.
Yeah.
I think I have like 300 likes.
So I re-promote on that Facebook page, but I don't re-promote on my personal page.
Right, okay.
I mean, I might do.
Yeah.
But, yeah. But the biggest growth game change for me, I think, has definitely been about networking and making friends in the industry and learning from them. So, like, I've been to, like, I used to go to blogging events quite a lot back in the day, and then I stopped because I just don't like most people. I'm a chatterbox, I'm a big mouth, but I'm not massively extroverted. I don't do small talk very well. And so big travel conferences, big blogging conferences really freak me out.
Yeah.
But I went to Blog at the Beach, which is a little kind of conference run by I Slowly Holiday up in Leeds. And obviously there's quite a few travel bloggers that I know up in Leeds, Beverly and Sophie being most of them. And so I decided to go up there for the day. It was a free conference. So Jen spoke, and Jess from Travelista spoke, and that was really good because I got to kind of network with some other travel bloggers that I'd not met before, and now we chat and all of that. I've also reached out to people and been like, hey, be my friend.
Yeah.
And let's go for coffee and let's meet up and let's be best friends and hold hands into the sunset. And that's been a real growth game changer, not because they are aggressively sharing my stuff, but just because you're just part of the community, you're seeing other stuff.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel more part of it when those low moments come. And I think the other half of your question was about those kind of barriers or low moments. And I think, for me, like, there's two things. As I was saying before, like, the travel blogging world is pretty well established with some major players that have been doing this forever. Now, I don't necessarily want to become a travel blogger full time, although increasingly I'm a bit like, oh, pay me to travel the world. Yeah, that sounds fun. But, it's not something that I'm aiming for. But even so, I do want to grow my blog, and I do want eyeballs on it, and I do want opportunities. And so it can feel massively daunting. The other thing is definitely about photography. Because like I said, I'm not a very visual person. I'm more about writing, but travel blogs are nothing if they don't have photos.
Yeah.
And I've looked, so my photography is getting much better now, and it's not necessarily to do with the fact that I've got a decent camera. It's more to do with the fact that I'm starting to learn what I want shots of and how I want them, because I hate editing, so I kind of want them to be decent up front. Because I hate editing, because I'm also don't want to learn Photoshop. I'm inherently a lazy blogger, guys, but so sometimes it can be really hard to kind of look at people's insane photos of Iceland and go, if I went to Iceland tomorrow, my photos would not look like that.
I feel like they would. Because I feel like Iceland is definitely one of those places which is just so bloody photogenic.
My Oslo photos were pretty good, actually, so that's not too horrendous. But I think their comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah, I was about to say,
I've tried really hard to. I tend not to. I mean, I'm not a young blogger. I'm 34 now. I tend now to just not give a shit about what anyone else is doing. And so I'm only competing with myself. So if I'm disappointed with a post or I'm disappointed with a photo, it's because I'm like, I know that I could do better.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Everyone
it for me.
has their thing. Yeah. Everyone has their thing.
Photography is my Achilles heel, and that's why I struggle with Instagram, I think. Because I cannot be bothered with a themed... Do you remember the days when we just posted shit selfies of ourselves?
I do, and I did not like those days.
Yeah, so...
See, I'm an Instagram girl.
You are.
Yeah.
You really are. You style your stuff, and I love it. I like all your... I like other people to do that.
Yeah.
But
I think you have to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It doesn't all have to be styled, but if you do styled photography, you have to be into it because it has to be for the joy of the styling.
Yeah. And I don't enjoy... that's not what I enjoy, like, at all. Like, that's why I much prefer taking pictures while I'm out and about, of landscapes or views and that kind of stuff. Food, maybe, to a certain extent, although if I have to move the plate around too much...
Yeah.
So we went to Amsterdam with Beverly and Sophie, and it was great because you're going with 2 other bloggers. So basically you can just get the table arranged and everyone just goes nuts. Yeah. So I would be the first to sit down because I'm like, I'm bored now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and Sophie and Beverly are still going because they're absolute pros. Yeah. And I'm watching Beverly like fix her shot. She's an incredible photographer. She's got such an amazing eye for photography, and that is great for her, but there's not any part of me that goes, that's what I want to do.
That's actually a really good tip that you've just popped out. Just cash.
Just cash tip.
Yeah, just a golden nugget there from Sam Sparrow. Is that if you're not confident with composition, which I'm not, you're not, quite a lot of people aren't, I think it really frightens them. Look at what somebody else is doing. Look at how, if you can, look at how someone's framing their shot and see, just try and dissect it a little bit and see how they've done it.
My photography's definitely improved since watching Beverly take photos when we were in Amsterdam. Like, I was really we went to this food market and I just couldn't do it. And then we sat down with the gin and I was looking at pictures and I was like...
I find gin helps as well. That's another top
And
tip.
she was telling me about how she takes pictures. She was taking pictures of the bar through the people.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'd never think to take that shot. I've never, number one... Orcs, let me put my camera in your face. I hadn't brought my zoom lens either, so I was basically fucked. This is how bad I am at photography. But, you know, that it really, like, helped me watch her and also gave me confidence because she's got her big camera. Yeah. She's just going for it and taking pictures.
Do you think that's another thing, then, is the kind of confidence piece of putting yourself out there and... I think people have a bit of an issue giving themselves permission to be what they want to be. Yeah,
I agree so much. And I think it's been quite hard because, like, so my husband has got nothing to do with any of the online world at all. Mm-hmm. He's about as analog as it gets. Like, I set up the Wi-Fi and the Sky Sports in our house. Like, that's, you know, and that's cool. He has a Twitter account and I think he's funny, but... yeah, that's about as far as it goes. And there is a level of frustration for me taking pictures of my food when we sit down in a restaurant, right?
There's only so many you can do.
Yeah. There's a level of frustration on his behalf when I'm trying to get him to get a good shot of me. You know, and that can be really, really hard, although I bloody hate it if he was a blogger. I just wouldn't be able to cope with it. It'd be awful.
Yeah, I couldn't cope.
No.
Well, I had to get rid of Ollie when he was trying to blog.
Yeah, you like hostile takeover of the blog. I love that. But you know, I think, yeah, it can be really, really difficult to really feel comfortable. And I think I didn't feel comfortable at all until I went away on holiday with Beverly and Sophie, and we were updating our Insta stories. Actually, I did Insta stories, but wasn't doing live Instagram because I was having my dark... I don't give a shit about Instagram period. So I wasn't putting any photos on. And we were all just sitting there for 10 minutes interacting on Instagram because then apparently you get better interaction on your photos. So we were all just doing that and not talking to each other while we were doing it.
You've just glossed over a really good Instagram tip.
Sorry. It's an Instagram tip that I don't use. But apparently, guys, so basically when you post a picture, you should be really active on Instagram before and after. Yeah. So that it's kind of part of that engagement.
Before and after you post.
You post a picture.
So
So what I tend to do if I'm having an Instagram good day is that I will go on, I will like and comment a few pictures, then I will put mine up with the hashtags and all of that shebang that I've carefully researched for days before, and then I will go and interact with some others, watch some Instagram stories, which isn't a hardship to me because I love Instagram stories. But that's a tip.
It's a good tip.
Yeah, I mean, it's not doing a hell of a lot for my own engagement, but, you know, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, but at least you get seen.
Yeah, you do get seen, actually. And for me, actually, the best thing is, a bit like you described earlier, is that It's about having my nice little tribe of people.
Yeah.
So actually, I've just got a list of people that I really like on Instagram, and I then go directly to their Instagram profiles.
Oh, really?
To get around
Do
the
you use the
algorithm.
saved function?
Yes.
Where you can save pictures in there? Because you can save and then have collections. I'm not very good at this.
So I've just saved pictures of my favourite Instagrammers, and then I just go into their accounts each day.
Yeah.
Because
otherwise sometimes you can never see people.
you can just never see people. Although what I have noticed is yours, Sophie's, Beverly's, Rebecca from Queen Beadie, Rihanna from, well, she was RoboCop, but now Rihanna Olivia. Like, I really like all of their photography, and because I've liked quite a lot of their posts, they do surface first.
I think that in particular we're all quite aggressive Instagrammers as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually posted twice in one day the other day.
Did you?
I know. Posted twice in one day.
I've been doing it recently because I've been joining in on the Free Up My Insta campaign that Alison Sadler's doing.
Yeah.
Which I think by the time this episode comes out, in fact it will be over, but it's a really brilliant campaign where she put together 2 weeks of prompts, and they're things like smile and wild and adventure, and just she was encouraging people to not give a shit about hashtags or fitting in with their theme or whatever, and just post something you want to post. Like, maybe even take a picture of
something there and then
something
in the moment.
there and then instantly gram it.
Yeah.
But I didn't do it quite like that, but it still
gave you that license to...
Gave me freedom to post things.
Totally.
And I posted a few pictures that I never would have posted before.
Yeah.
And I posted twice in one day on two separate occasions.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
I know. I've posted so much in the past week.
So I've heard, like, really good tips is, like, to post 3 times in one day to help you get engagement. But I would just run out of... give a shit, as well as photography and that. I guess, like, another thing for me is, like, this is supposed to, I have a full-time job that's quite hard. Like, before I started the job I'm in now, and before I started the As Sparrow Flies blog, I set up my own social enterprise as part of a charity, and I was working 60-hour weeks and every weekend to get that off the ground. So I had not a lot of space in my life to care about this stuff anyway. And then I started this blog because I'd started a new job that I finally had my life back. And for me, part of this is of course I want it to be successful. I'm an ambitious person, but I also want it to be a wonderful hobby. And if I spend too long thinking about algorithms on each, and it is different. You've interviewed people for whom it is their full-time job and their business, and you do need to care about algorithms if you want to make money out of this kind of stuff. But I also think that if the only platform that you've got any control over is your blog and maybe your email list. And so this Instagram will change again, maybe tomorrow. Pinterest will change. It's already changing quite a lot. They've taken off the repin rates and made them engagement rates, and now it's really difficult to find out how many repins you've had. Twitter is going to go algorithm soon, and that's just going to really annoy me.
Already your timeline, your feed is not chronological.
No, and I'm going to swear about it a lot when Twitter changes, because I will be so pissed about that. But, like, that stuff is not in your control, even if this is your business. The only thing you can control is the photos you put out on your blog, the words that you put out on your blog, and how that's organised, and potentially collecting emails for an email list. Another thing that I'm bad at. But I know that you spoke about this quite a lot in the last episode I listened to when we recorded this with Monica from the Travel Hack.
Yes, the email list.
So that's, like, a really good tip. But so therefore, if you can't control other people's platforms, you're going to lose the kind of joy and wonder of why we do this stuff online anyway. And, like, for me, like, that is my biggest growth game changer, because if I worried about that stuff, I would stop posting and I wouldn't have a blog, and then I'd have nothing to grow, and it would just be another desolate, fallen by the wayside blog, of which there are probably millions in the internet.
That's a really, really good point, and probably quite a good one to end it on.
Yeah, I've like rabbited on forever.
No, it's really good. I just want to summarise it again, though. Your blog is not going to just disappear. That's the only thing you have control over, and you need to use your words. Use your words, people. Content is king. So thank you very much for being part of the podcast, Sam. Where
Pleasure.
can everybody find you?
So I'm on at Sam R. Sparrow, basically on every social media. So Instagram, Twitter and Pinterest, if you want to check out the pins. And my blog is asthesparrowflies.com. There will never be another pun that I've come up with that is greater than that. So just appreciate that if you do go and visit.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to What She Said. And if you like this episode or any of the other episodes, please think about giving me a lovely rating on iTunes. I really appreciate it. If you want to connect with me, head over to my blog, wanderloose.com, or hit me up on Twitter, Instagram or Pinterest, where I'm at wanderlooseblog.